My name is Hannah Barbiero, and I am a DEMA student at Western Connecticut State University. For my senior project, I did a podcast series called Embarrassed Reality. I first fell in love with podcasts back in a class that I took my freshman year, which was DEMA 100, and we had to do some podcasts for a project that our professor had given us, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was so fun. For one of the projects that I had to interview someone, and then I also had to talk by myself. It took me a really long time to try to figure out what I wanted to do for my senior project, but since I fell in love with podcasts, I thought that would be a perfect thing to do. I also had a hard time trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about in my podcasts. I thought about doing a talk about sexual harassment in the workplace, or my other idea was interviewing people about embarrassing stories that they had. After talking to my Com 436 class, they all kind of agreed that they would like to hear embarrassing stories from people. So I was super excited about that. I went on to Amazon after I had decided that that's what I wanted to do for my senior project, and I found a lavalier that I could hook up to my phone so it would be portable for me to take wherever I needed to go, because I wasn't sure where I was going to be interviewing people since this pandemic has been super difficult to get in contact with people. So I didn't really get to interview strangers or get close to people that I wasn't necessarily friends with. So I had to do my family members and friends at Western Connecticut State University that I saw all the time, and I was able to interview them. In the first episode, I did an introduction of this series and shared an embarrassing story myself, and then I interviewed my mom, and then I interviewed two of my friends at Western Connecticut State University. I had my phone in the voice recorder app, and I was able to record the podcasts on there, and what was super helpful is I could pause and replace and hear the audio levels on my phone. And then I put them into my Mac, and I had to use Audacity to edit the podcast because I have a really old computer and I don't think that it could handle Premiere or Audition or anything like that. So we had used Audacity in DEMA 100, so I knew that that was something I was familiar with. And every few weeks we had to present what we had to my Com 436 class, and they were super helpful with talking about audio levels or things that I can consider, and it was definitely, this project was a learning experience, but I'm super happy with how it came out, and I'm excited to have people listen to it. And I didn't really let my classmates listen to all of them, so I'm hoping they go on and listen to it as well so they can see it kind of finished and done. I was also super impressed with the lavaliers that I had gotten from Amazon for $20. They came in handy because I could bring them wherever I wanted with me, and there was a few different places, 3 different places that I had to interview people. So it was super helpful to be able to put it in my bag and have it with me wherever I needed to go. Because if that didn't work for my backup, I was going to get a Zoom 4 from school, and I was worried that I would have to keep giving it back to them and taking it out again. But in the long run, everything worked out great, and I'm really excited to have everyone listen to it, and I'm really excited to see all of my classmates' work before I leave WestCon in May. So to everyone watching, I just want to say thank you so much for the experience that I have gotten at Western Connecticut State University. And I am going to show you guys a snippet of one of my favorite podcasts. And to leave you in suspense, you have to go check it out to hear the rest. Thank you. Welcome to my first podcast of hopefully this very entertaining and unique series that I have planned for you guys. For the first episode, which is this one, I decided I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction and kind of tell you what you guys are going to be listening to for the rest of this season. Let me introduce myself. My name is Hannah, and this podcast is called Embarrassed Reality. So I plan to be bringing friends, family, and maybe some strangers onto my podcast so they can share some of their embarrassing stories with you guys. What I want to get out of this podcast is for people to realize that, excuse my French, shit happens. And I want people to be able to laugh embarrassing stories off and kind of enjoy them. And what not a better way to do that than to share it with a bunch of people that are going to be